Hello, Adam Casey here with your September 2022 dredging update. In this update, we're going to give some brief stats on where things are with the dredging, and then primarily cover the budget implications of dredging, what was talked about at the past board meetings, what will be on the public adoption of the 2023 budget in October, and what that means for you as an individual freeholder. Let me go ahead and share my PowerPoint screen here. All right, as I said, this is the September 2022 dredging update. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into this, so we won't take nearly as long as last time. So first off, we have the project status update. The booster pump has been installed along South Shore Drive. You've probably seen it if you've gone past the disposal site on South Shore Drive. Heartland dredging is seeing an approximate 30% increase in production efficiency. And if you see it in person, you really actually notice how much more velocity is moving through that pipe and sediment. To date, there's about 40,000 cubic yards that have been removed, and the plan is really to dredge through the end of December or just before Christmas, as long as the weather allows for it. So things are moving along there. Booster pump installed, increase in efficiency, about 40,000 yards removed so far, and they really plan to dredge up until Christmas. Here's some pictures of the booster pump that were installed on South Shore Drive. It's a very large pump. It's actually a 10-inch pump that they put reducers on to fit their 8-inch lines. And the pump and motor are actually equal to the size that are on the barge itself. So this really does is takes a lot of the pressure off the barge and helps the sediment get up that hill into the receiving pond. So we can see they had to bring in a CAT machine, an excavator to put this into place, and this was them setting it up. I think towards the end of last month is when it got in there. Next up, I wanted to show some really cool recent pictures of the sediment disposal basin. We began drawing down the water, one, to help with settling time, so you don't have as much water flowing out of the basin, slows the flow down across, but then also to really get a look at what's been building up underneath the surface. So at this point, we've drawn down the pond close to 3 feet, and actually that's still being drawn down currently. And you can really start to see the sediment island form. This upper right-hand photo, this is the pipe where the sluice or dredge material gets dumped into the receiving pond. And here's an angle from the southern basin facing north. Out by the edge of these areas, and still here it gradually decreases, it's not just a quick shot. That was about 37 feet deep when the basin was first formed. So it is a lot of sediment that's being placed right there. Again, if you're out towards this edge, back when the basin is empty and go straight down to the hard pan, it was close to 37 feet, excuse me. So moving along very well, and it's very cool to see how much sediment's being built up there. Before we lowered the pond down, you could really just see a small patch of it. So it's very rewarding to see where it's at now. Next, we'll talk about our September 22nd board meeting and the outcomes for that meeting, which really sets into play our 3-year plan, which we'll get into in a little bit, and adjust the contract amounts for our current dredging project. So at the September 22nd board meeting, the board motioned and we approved the following line items. One is that we would increase the dredging contract amount by 20% and to move more material at our current pricing. If we didn't do that, we would need to bid out, and we will also have to bid out the next project after we maximize this contract. By law, we're allowed to do a change order of up to 20% of the total contract value. To fund this addition, we'll utilize the special benefits tax, which we're also using to fund this year's portion. So we'll talk about the special benefits tax, how that's going to be impacted, and what we're planning for. And then we're going to start utilizing the overflow pond in 2023. So next year, when the dredging operation fires back up, we'll be utilizing the overflow pond. And as we mentioned in the last meeting, that's really kind of driven by the timing of the permitting and the requirements. So we need to utilize that while we can. And then we'll finally bid out any remaining capacity for 2024. So the remainder of this current contract, along with the 20% increase, should come to fruition, be completed in the 2023 dredging season. And then for 2024, we'll have to bid that out. So this is the actual bid schedule that we received from Heartland Dredging with the bid documents that were sent out, the requests for proposals when we were initially looking at starting the project. Up here, the scope A, this is the dredging. Scope B was the creation of a disposal basin, which was done by United Excavating. So the scope A really just has the dredging operations, a cubic yard unit cost for removal. And that's what this is based on. When we get data from the dredgers and we send it to the engineer, they look at the original bathymetric study, which shows the sediment depth. And then they look at the new data after the dredger has gone through, and they can look at how much cubic yardage has been removed. We also have chemical treatment of disposal basin. This is a flocculant or polymer, which we have talked about, that actually helps the particles combine together, form a larger particle, and settle out faster. Thankfully, we've not had to use any of that so far. So we really haven't dipped into this $85,000 line item for the use of polymers for settling. As the retention basin fills up and you have less residence time or less time that the sediment has to settle out, we may have to look at the use of the polymers to help increase that settling rate. But we'll use it when we need it. We're going to try to push it off as long to potentially turn that cost into more sediment being removed. And then finally, the dredging operations, mobilization, demobilization. We spent about half of this, I want to say, is right around $40,000 for the mobilization, which was getting the barge here, the piping set up, all of that. So I'm using the all-in cost for our yardage cost on this bid schedule. And that really should be on the high end of what it costs per cubic yard. And as we are able to put more of the dredging actual cubic yardage removed at that $5.98 rate, if we can put more of that contract, it'll slowly drive down that cost per cubic yard. Since that chemical dewatering and the dredging are fixed, the more we can do at the $5.98 rate, the cheaper it will get. So on that contract, the original contract amount was $879,000. In order to make the budget a little bit more reasonable this year and to ensure that we could afford it, we only budgeted $779,000 in that contract for the current year. The way the bids were written in the final contract is that we could actually reduce that total yardage to 80,000 yards if need be at that and keep that same rate. So we budgeted a little bit less. We budgeted 100,000 yards removed for this year versus the 120,000 approved in the contract. Our expected 2022 payments are going to be $516,000. And because of that, it's not reaching that full contract amount, we will be encumbering funds into 2023, which means expected expenses on the 2022 budget will move forward to 2023 and essentially just shift this budget without having to increase next year's budget since it's unused funds. So the potential contract change order, which is a maximum of 20%, would be about $175,000. When we look at our encumbered funds and our potential change order, well, the change order that will come since we did approve it at the last meeting, we're looking at a 2023 maximum hydraulic, an estimated maximum hydraulic expense, $538,000. The total yardage from the contract with the 20% increase, and this is using that $7 rate, so utilizing the maximum yardage pricing, comes out to 143,902 yards. Again, that may increase if we don't need to utilize the polymers as much, or if we save some money on mobilization. So that could potentially increase. In 2023, for the Long Causeway Pond, we're going to fill a little under half of the total capacity. And with this $538,000 expenditure in 2023, we can expect about 73,000 plus yards for the 2023 dredging season. There's just a little schematic of the bathymetric for the Long Causeway Pond. It's about 158,000 cubic yards that we're going to be able to fit in there total. And that assumes we fill the whole thing up to approximately 6 inches below the water line. Once we get into the planting of it, we have to leave about 30% open water. And it'll be a little bit plus or minus depending on how the sediment settles out. So that is the maximum yardage, the 158,000. For the budget going into 2023, we had mentioned utilizing the special benefits tax to fund this ongoing project. We can see this in the proposed budget line items 4040 through 4055, the special benefits tax and the hydraulic assessment. I want to be clear that these are not separate individual taxes. The benefits tax is one tax. We request a specific amount, and then the tax rate is back calculated off of that amount. So we give the total amount that we want to the Department of Local Government Finance and State Board of Accounts, and then they calculate the tax rate based on assessed values, so we receive those funds. So this is broken out into Brown County and Monroe County, and the increased assessment for the hydraulic project primarily as clarifications. We just want to be as transparent as possible, as has been requested in the past, and what we strive to do, just to be as transparent as possible. So we broke these out into the additional assessments that will go with the special benefits tax. So the special benefits tax projections, I broke down into home values of $1 million, 500,000, 250,000, and 100,000. I don't think we have too many 100,000 homes left on the lake, but I do believe there's a few. Our current tax rate for 2022 special benefits tax amounts to the following values for your special benefits tax. On a $1 million home, it was $2,400, and the tax rate was essentially 0.24, comes out to 24 cents per $100 of assessed value. So on $1 million, the 2,400 on a $500,000 home, 1,200 on a $250,000 home, 600,000, and on a $600, not 600,000, and on a $100,000 home, $240. So based on these round numbers for the 2023 special benefits tax, you'd be looking at the following amounts. For a $1 million home, $5,600. For a $500,000 home, $2,800. For a $250,000 home, $1,400. And for a $100,000 home, you'd be looking at $563 for the 2023 special benefits tax. Now you can utilize the Monroe County and Brown County GIS websites and go look at your specific property and find out exactly how much you pay in the special benefits tax. And you can calculate that. It's just essentially doubling, a little more than doubling for that current rate. So we'll move forward to the actual GIS websites, and these links will be in the email coming out to the Monroe County GIS and the Brown County GIS. And I really just wanted to show you how you can go into here, look at your tax rate, and then see what you would actually be paying. So I'll do a couple screenshots and then I'll go to the actual websites and show you how it works. This first screenshot here is from the Monroe County GIS. This looks like the Porthole area, the Bloomington Yacht Clubs on South Shore Drive. So if you go to the GIS, it will show all the individual parcels. If you click on a parcel, and these are not the same parcels, if you click on a parcel, the information pops up for the property report card. On the property report card, you have different options: the report card, tax bill, overlay report, and additional data. This is all public information that's available from the assessor's office. They manage this. So if you go to the website, click on a property, you get the information, and then you would click on tax bill. So this is a tax bill that I took from an actual property on Lake Lemon. I did block out the information and owner information just for some privacy. But what you want to look at is the tax payments under that tax bill tab. You can see the spring installments, spring other, fall installments, and fall other, and then your year total. Now that year total is your total tax bill. The special benefits tax is just this other assessment. So for this particular home, the whole year tax bill for 2022 would be $4,277. Of that $4,200, the other assessments, so the special benefits tax, equals $880 for round numbers. So, $880 out of that 4,200 is what goes to the conservancy district and what's collected by the county assessor's office and distributed to us from the taxes. So just a small portion. Again, your entire tax bill is not doubling. That 4,200, we don't have control of the majority of that. That is your county tax rate. We're just this other assessment. Same kind of goes for Brown County. When you go to the websites, you can click on a parcel and the tax bill history will pop up. This one looks a little bit different. Instead of tax, it says bills, but you still have your spring, fall, and your special assessment, which is the Lake Lemon Conservancy Special Benefits Tax. So this particular parcel is the one that the Conservancy District bought a handful of years ago. It was in classified forest, so the taxes were minimal, and now it's a government property, so we're tax exempt. But you would see the spring tax, the fall tax, and then the special assessment. So you would essentially double that special assessment to get to your 2023 actual payment for the tax rate. So I'm going to go ahead and jump online real quick, and I will show you what this looks like. I'll go ahead and start with the Monroe County parcels. So this is the Monroe County GIS. It's actually a really cool satellite image here that they took last year when the ice was receding. So you can see all the parcels around the lake in Monroe County, the county line. And if you were to zoom in, we can just take, you could really take anything, but we'll zoom in. If you click on a home or hover over it, the internet is running very slow right now. Well, Monroe County seems to have froze. Let's go ahead and try the Brown County one. So again, in the Brown County side, you can see all the individual parcels. If you were to zoom in and click on a parcel, what you get is the property report cards. So here is the parcel information, owners, all that parcel information. You can look at deductions, payments. But if you go to the bills on this particular property, you can see the spring assessment, the fall assessment, and the special assessment. So out of the total tax bills, $600 out of over $4,000 is the special benefits tax. And then if Monroe County will load. Well, Monroe County doesn't want to play right now. So again, you can look at the taxes based on the individual parcels. And then actually the GIS is really good for some other information as well. One being that you can look at the floodplains, water flow areas, type of land. You may even be able to do soil types based on different layers. So I'll actually share this again. Go to screen 2. We'll share this. The links will be in the email that comes out. If I were to look for Monroe County GIS or Brown County GIS, we'll do that one since it's more in the floodplain. Brown County GIS, you can just Google that or follow the actual link. This Brown, Indiana WTH GIS is the link that you want to use. So if you look at your area, this shows all of Brown County. We can zoom in on Lake Lemon specifically. And some really good information is in this layers tab. So if you were wanting to look at, you're looking at flood insurance, whether or not you can build or raise up the land, which is very regulated in the floodplain, you can actually click on these layers tabs and look at past aerials, bridges, cemeteries, soils, and the 2016 floodplains is the last time the floodplains were updated from FEMA. If you click on the floodplains map, you can actually see the floodplains coming through Bean Blossom Creek and into the lake. So if you're prone to flooding or you're looking at buying a property or just want to know some more, you can actually go and look at these floodplain areas and receive a lot of information. So that's a handy tool to have just in your back pocket, to get information on the parcel and on the lake. Go to that and then share the PowerPoint again. So spring, fall, special assessment, that is the special benefits tax. Next, we will talk about the Sediment Management Project 3-year plan. So this will really be a synopsis of our 3-year plan moving forward, based on our current contract, expansion of the contract, utilizing the pond. So in 2022, our current year, we're utilizing the Upland Sediment Basin, which is the settling basin on South Shore Drive, where we had pictures from earlier. The approximate yardage for this year that will be placed is 70,000 yards, just over 70,000. So a little under 2/3 of the total capacity, potential capacity in that basin. The approximate cost that we'll be paying this year is 516,000. Next year in 2023, we will begin utilizing the South Shore Long Causeway Pond, which is on the south shore or south side of the Long Causeway. The approximate yardage for next year, based on our encumbered funds on the contract and then the 20% addition, should get us around 73,000 yards, just under half the total potential capacity of that pond. In 2024, we will need to bid out. So the winter of 23 going into 24, we'll need to bid out the sediment dredging again. So we'll put that out for bid. You know, companies that have equipment on the lake or if they're already mobilized may help save some money, but that will have to go out for bid. And we'll see what the new rates are on that. I did utilize the current pricing for the cost estimates and the yardage. So 625,000 is based on our current contract pricing at $7, a little over $7 per yard removed. And the goal is to subsidize this with the Lake Lemon Enhancement Fund. So we've raised approximately $200,000 between the two funds. and we are going to be continuing to work on a capital campaign to raise money in that 501c3 tax benefit donation area. So the Lakeland Enhancement Fund should subsidize 625,000. So that wouldn't necessarily come complete from the special benefits tax. And then in 2025, we would need to seed the pond for an emergent wetland and initiate a 3-year monitoring plan. This is part of our permit for the pond, actually for construction and a floodway permit from DNR that allows us to use the pond. Is we have to plant, monitor for a minimum of 3 years to ensure success, and monitor for up to 5 years if it's not deemed successful in that first 3 years. So we just have to continue the management plan into year 4 and 5 until it's deemed a success and the wetland is established. So the monitoring cost, $100,000. That will be billed over a minimum of a 3-year period. These are estimates that I got from Stantec or JF New, which is a very large consultant in the state that does a lot of these wetland establishment and restoration projects. So about $100,000 for the seeding and the 3-year maintenance and monitoring plan. By this time as well, we may have already started removing sediment from that upland pond. And if we haven't, the sediment that's in there currently, that 70,000 expected yards from this year, will have actually settled further in there and become more dense. So we would also have that remaining yardage in the upland pond to utilize based on funding, but that would not be until the 2025 year in this current 3-year plan. So last but not least, I just wanted to leave you with some beautiful wetland pictures. When people hear wetlands, they think swamps and bogs. That's not the case at all. Wetland plants provide amazing habitat, both to reptiles, fish, birds. They take up nutrients and filter the water, and they really are just beautiful areas. You do not have stagnant, mosquito-infested waters when they're properly functioning. So these are just a couple of wetland photos, and I really hope to make that emergent wetland, emergent meaning the plants are rooted underwater and then emerging through the water line. We really want to make that emergent wetland something beautiful that we can all be proud of and make it very functional. So thank you for your time. That is the September 22 dredging update, and we'll see everybody at the October board meeting. Have a good day.